Are we on?
Started.
We're
Right
live.
side up.
Okay. We're not sideways anymore. Welcome, collectors. This is Melinda from Department 56, and I am here with Rick Jackson this afternoon. He is our creative director, and you've been with the company
For over 22 years.
so between the two of us, we got half a century.
Exactly.
And I'm the one that always is stopping. Well, I'm not the only one, but I'm one of the ones that stops by Rick's office
Oh.
and absolutely bugs him and nags him and says, "I think we should do this. I think we should make that accessory. The collectors have told us we need to do this accessory," and Rick usually blows me off. But this time,
Yeah.
after months of nagging, he considered it, and I'm really pleased that we're going to be able to talk about two accessories that are going to come out next year. So these are for 2021. And Rick, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I was promised lead in music, which we don't have, but if we had it, it would be David Bowie's Suffragette City from his Diamond Dog album, and I hope some of you out there get the reference, and that will lead into our new accessory.
And there's our new accessory.
This
I
is-
don't know anything. I've never heard the song. You're going to have to look that one up for me and play it for me sometime. This was you told me the last accessory that Lynn Maderick did
Yeah,
for us.
for those of you who follow our site, you'll know that we lost Lynn Maderich this year. She recently passed from cancer. She has been designing product for us at least as long as I've been here, so that's 22 years.
22 years.
And she's done just beautiful work for us all the way through that time. And as beautiful as the work was that she did for us, her passion was painting, and she was quite a gifted painter. And we can talk more about that a little later.
Yeah, we sure
But
can.
this is one of the ones that that Melinda was hitting me up on. It's what is the anniversary?
It is the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which gave women all over the United States the right to vote. And Lynn really did a nice job on this. I mean, Lynn always did
That's
a nice
true.
job. She really did. So that the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920, and we can look and see
Oops,
here.
sorry.
No, that's okay. And you'll see that these women are dressed in very appropriate 1920 garb. So this is for Christmas in the City.
Yeah,
so
I was
they're
just going to clarify.
this is made of porcelain, and lots of nice detail on it. And she's holding a sign that said, "Rise up, women." And I like that. And then this other woman is carrying a flag, and there's some real significance to that flag. If you know anything about the suffragette movement, are we getting a good view on this one?
Some of us wanted to do a close up on it, which
Okay.
might be easy to pick it up.
If you want to pick it up, or if we could move it a little closer, maybe. The interesting thing about that flag is, for one thing, they did gold and purple.
Right.
Those were the colors of the movement. I thought maybe Lynn was just giving me a nod to my love of the Vikings. Those are Minnesota Viking colors, but apparently
I think those are
not.
the losses they had this season so far on the
Hey,
Stars.
hey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's about true. They've got a terrible record this year. But back to the suffragettes. It's the flag. They made this flag, and every time a state ratified the amendment, they added a star. And to get the amendment to become part of the Constitution and become law, they had to get ratification from 36 states.
Right.
And they did that in August of 2020, when the state of Tennessee
Thanks.
was the last state to ratify the amendment. And they were actually quite surprised that it was Tennessee being a southern state, and it was the southern states that were most resistant to passing the amendment. So.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was just the southern states. I mean, how long did it take?
It took 72 years.
Right. So I think that's a little
Yeah.
resistance from just about coast to coast.
Yeah.
Right.
There were a few states in the West. I think it was Wyoming was the very first state where women had the option to vote in some local elections, and then there were some states that passed laws that women could vote in primary elections and like local elections, like for school board and things like that. But as far as universal right to vote happened in 1920, and I thought that was very significant. And I think it's kind of fun to get pieces in our village line
Yeah.
that really reflects some of these things. And you certainly could have several of these and create a parade like many of these women
Right.
did back in the early 1900s. And I think she did a marvelous job on it, and I think Lynn probably was a real believer in this
yeah.
this cause as well. And so I'm just delighted for two things. I'm delighted with the way it turned out, and I'm delighted that you let us get a little sneak peek of this new accessory.
Yeah, and again, this will be part of the product that will be coming out for Christmas 2021.
21, and it will be introduced formally in January, and it will be part of Christmas in the city. So
Yep.
I think that's really neat. And we've got here, I did pull the artwork, and maybe you want to speak to this a little bit. Here is
See what you got here.
Oh, I got two of them, so I will show that this is what the drawing looked like that was sent to the factory when they are getting this sculpted.
Yeah,
And you can talk a little bit more to that because you certainly know more about that.
I think a lot of you have seen our presentations where we talk about how our houses are designed and drawn, where we use orthographic drawings, where we'll have a front, side, top, and back views. And we do the same thing with figurines. So it's a real art not only to draw a figurine, but also to do the turnarounds, which are the different sides of the figurines, so that the more information we can give to the sculptor, the more they're going to hit the art. And so what we expect from our artists on figurines is the same of what we expect on the houses, where we're drawing a bigger size for detail and color, a smaller size for scale, and then again the orthographic drawings literally showing the different views of the same
Right.
figurine, so that we can get as much information as possible to get a complete sculpt that we are happy with. When we have the sculpts, they're done at the studio, and I look at the clays, and if we get the art right, we're going to get the clays right, and I'll approve the clays, and then it goes into production. Lynn could really get it right.
Yeah, and she really did her homework as well to get it right, to make
Yeah,
sure
exactly.
that the costumes that people wore. Now, which villages did Lynn design for? Accessories.
Dickens Village, Christmas in the City, and North Pole. And then she certainly had her shot at the other villages as well as a hired gun for Snow Village. Alpine Village was probably 50-50 with in-house versus Lynn's work. And then she also helped a lot with a lot of our licensing, some of the licensed villages.
Okay, and this is the second.
Oh, yeah.
Second accessory that we're going to give you a little sneak peek at. We don't have the sample of it. Every day Rick was looking at
Yeah.
product that came in from the Orient. But it ties so well with our tribute here today for Lynn that I thought we should talk about
Yeah.
that. And I'll let you look at that one, and I will show the other copy. How nice of Kiri to give us two of
Okay, why don't
everything.
you use the one that's not folded?
The one that's not very good.
So what we did is, Lynn has done literally hundreds of figurines for us over the
Is that
years.
good?
And we thought it would be nice to, if she could maybe mingle with some of her figurines. So we've given, this was something that I talked with Lynn with. I was able to show her the art, and we're doing a figurine for Snow Village, and it's a figurine of Lynn painting. Like I mentioned, her real joy, her real passion was painting. She would paint horses. What is that? The word for it?
Equine.
Yeah. She was very beautiful painter, all things, including people, but her passion was horses.
She's
And
won
so-
a lot of awards as well, correct?
Yeah, she's won awards. She's had quite the reputation with it. And so what we did is we created a figurine of her painting a painting of a horse. And this horse in particular is a horse that has kind of a fun story to it.
Yeah, sorry.
If flattery is what's the cliche?
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah, if imitation's the best form of flattery, one of Lynn's friends alerted her to the fact that they could buy this painting of a horse, which was an award-winning painting. And for Lynn, there was a company overseas that was making knockoffs of her painting of this horse. They have literally painting factories in Asia, and they were painting copies of this painting and selling it on the internet. So she was able to work with a lawyer and was able to stop it. And so hopefully you won't be seeing these anymore on the market. But this was also the Tate who drew the accessory had picked a different painting for it, but Lynn, always having the eye for the design as well as the production, said, I think we need a bigger painting in there, like a horse's head rather than a horse in a field. So she made that change as well. And we're calling it Sunday in the Park with Lynn. One of her favorite things was shows, and one of her favorite shows was Sunday afternoon in the Park with George. I think she had a big crush on Mandy Patinkin.
Mandy Patinkin?
Patinkin, yeah. So I was all for that because I'd seen the show and I had a big crush on Bernadette Peters. So we thought it'd be fun to call it Sunday in the Park with Lynn. And this will also be a piece that's going to be introduced in the January 2021 line.
Okay. And Tate did a wonderful job, and you heard Rick mention that Tate Yoder, who was one of our great accessory artists,
Yeah.
and has moved on to other things, is in not in Department 56
Yeah.
with UNESCO. So if you want to.
Yeah, she's gone over
To the dark
transferred
side.
to the dark side, to Burbank, California, and she's working in our office in Burbank, and their specialty out there is just creating and maintaining licensed lines. So she's designing and managing a lot of projects coming in from, if you've seen a license, a non-village license, chances are she's been working on it.
Yeah, and her background was in comic book art.
Yeah, she graduated from the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and her major was the graphic novel. So I always thought that was kind of
So
cool.
she's now in her element.
Exactly.
So this will be a wonderful piece, and I think Tate did a really, really good job of capturing Lynn. I mean, you will see her with her hair up in a bun, and that is
Yeah.
exactly the way we remember her coming in. And she always had on very artistic jewelry, and she was a wonderful seamstress, I would say almost tailor.
Yeah.
I mean, she made coats and capes and beautiful clothing, and won awards for those as well at our Minnesota State Fair.
Yeah, perennial ribbon winner.
Yeah. So, do we have some questions for Rick now that we have shown you two really great new accessories, one for Christmas in the City, and then the Sunday in the Park with Lynn will be
Snow Village.
the Snow Village piece, the Snow Village accessory. And why did you choose Snow Village for this?
Well, we wanted to, as you mentioned, every time you saw her, most likely she had made at least one article of clothing that she was wearing. And the sweater that she's wearing is certainly representative of what she did a lot of sweaters, and it just seemed to fit the genre of Snow Village, as opposed to putting her in a formal dress like Christmas in the City.
No, that wasn't her, was
the
it?
Victorian. It just seemed to be a good fit for her. So.
I think the only thing is someone's just wondering when the next section of Harry Potter will be coming out.
When will more Harry Potter be coming?
Oh yeah, we're certainly going to be having more Harry Potter. So I think you could look for something in January, and you could certainly look for something following that. I think, what is it, April entry or introductions. Yeah, Harry Potter's been good for us, and I think we have some pretty nice pieces that, especially one of the accessories, I think is going to be one of my favorites, and that will be part of the stuff coming out for January, April 2021.
It's hard to keep that all straight because Rick was just telling us
Yeah.
as we were getting ready here, he's already submitting artwork to the factories for 2022.
I just shipped the Snow Village Christmas Lane for January 2022 intro. Is going out tomorrow.
So both Rick and the artist have a hard time,
Yeah, it's trying
keeping
to
that
track.
straight. Keeping that straight. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only other, another one came in was just asking if there's any new licenses that we're going to be picking
Oh,
up.
I
Thought
think
we
we're
could
going
talk
to
about it.
Yeah.
license. We're going to have some neat ones, aren't we?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm not going to share the license with you, but we are going to have a license that we're excited about coming out for the April introduction.
Not for
Yeah.
January?
This one, the one I'm thinking of, I think is going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be definitely April 2021 intro. It's going to be a fun license.
I've seen several license pieces. I'm not sure what's going to come out in January, what's going to come out in April. Are we going to have any new ones in January?
Yeah, in fact, we just mentioned this. There'll be Harry Potter, but as
Yeah.
far as a new,
Brand new one we haven't done before.
that's one we're going to look for in April.
Okay, all right, sounds good. We'll just have to leave it at that this time, collectors, and we thank you for joining us this afternoon. Sorry about the technical difficulties when we started, but we'll get the hang of this. You
Yeah.
know, we've only been doing this 2 years now, so by next year we'll get it right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
See
Bye-bye.
you later.